Recently, I've been getting a lot of comments about my chest development. Guys want to know, Alex, how did you get your pecs to that amount of size? So in this video, I want to break down everything that has worked for me over my entire lifting career. So it's going to be the A to Z of chest development. And keep in mind, I'm speaking purely off my own personal experience. I'm not saying this is the end-all solution. I'm just saying that this is what worked for me in getting a big pair of pecs. So let's break this down. First of all, a lot of guys don't know this, but before I started lifting weights, I had an extensive calisthenics background. I did exclusively calisthenics for a good 3 to 4 years. I don't remember the exact amount, but I did a lot of calisthenics. And in particular, push-ups was my specialty. I did push-ups every single day, multiple times a day, and several different variations. So I was very strong at push-ups. I did thousands of them every single week. I did them multiple times a day. It was kind of like the Bulgarian training of push-ups. As a result, I was very strong at push-ups, and my chest kind of developed pretty nice as a result of doing this. Now, once I started lifting weights, which was after about the 4-year mark of doing calisthenics, I noticed that when I started benching, my numbers skyrocketed extremely fast. Within 8 months of training, I had reached the intermediate stage of benching. I was already benching 2 plates for reps after 8 months of training, right? And my pecs were also getting big super easily. Like, it wasn't even a challenge for me to do so. I didn't have to do excessively high volume. I didn't even have to train correctly. The fact is, I had so much experience from doing push-ups that my work capacity for the chest was extremely high, and it just blew up like weeds. And I believe that this has to do with Nucleus Overload. Now, Nucleus Overload is a theory that was developed by Megan of Team 3D Alpha. And if you don't know who he is, he's a great guy that helped me a lot with my fitness journey. You can subscribe to him at Team 3D Alpha. I actually did a pretty good interview with him too on this channel. And basically the theory is that if you train a muscle group every single day, the nuclei within that muscle cell will get even more, right? You can develop more of it. And the result is that once you train, you'll have a better response in developing that muscle, right? And in particular, Megan noted that people who had sports backgrounds in, say, football, when they would start bodybuilding, their neck and traps would blow up. Or guys who had a history of swimming, right? When they would start bodybuilding, their lats and their shoulders would get bigger. Or people who did sprinting, their quads would get bigger. Basically, anytime someone did very high frequency for a given body part over a long period of time, once these guys start bodybuilding, the muscles get bigger. And he believed that this had to do with nucleus overload, where the nuclei in the muscle cells increase. Now, I believe this is what happened to me. In particular, it occurred with my chest, forearms, and back. Why these 3 areas? Because when I did my calisthenics for 3 to 4 years, it wasn't just push-ups, right? I did a lot of pull-ups. I did very high volumes of push-ups. I even had a pull-up bar in my home. I used to go to the park multiple times a day. And of course, I did climbing. I used to climb buildings as well. So my forearms got a lot of stimulation. And I did this for like 3 to 4 years. So when I started lifting weights, the first 3 body parts that grew on me very fast was my chest, forearms, and back. It has always been these 3 areas since the very beginning. From the very beginning until now. And I would seriously have to credit the nucleus overload. I sincerely believe that nucleus overload is 1000% legit. I really believe in it. So I think that's what gave me a kickstarting effect. And then from there on, I really never had to work that hard on my chest. It pretty much grew without a problem. And the way that I developed it past that point was just getting stronger. That's it. I never had to do these crazy drop sets, superset combinations. I never had to do shocking your chest workouts. For me, it's always been simple. Focus on your bench press and weighted dips, and everything is going to grow just fine. That's what worked for me. Okay, I never had to do lots of flies, none of that stuff. All I had to do was get stronger, and my pecs would blow up fairly easily. Now, in 2016, right, I took a year off benching and a year off all horizontal presses to do exclusively the vertical presses, right? The result is that my pecs got a lot smaller. Now, when I started redoing horizontal presses in 2017, all of a sudden my pecs blew up again, and then people were commenting like, holy shit, Alex, how'd your pecs get so big? The reality is that I always had a great chest. It's just that I took so much time off from chest training that it slimmed down in size. But the way that I built it back up, again, very simple. First I did weighted dips. You saw me get my weighted dip to 5 plates, right? And when you factor my body weight, that's over 400 pounds. So over 400 pound weighted dip, right? That obviously works your pecs to a large extent. I did 4 plates for 5 repetitions. I did 3 plates for well over 10 reps. That was actually like I used to do that on my volume days. And I also did a push-up cycle. I did about 1 to 2 months of 1,000 rep push-up workouts. I would do it 2 to 4 times a week, 500 to 1,000, very high volume, pumping out the chest. And that worked very well. And then, of course, recently, I've been doing the bench press training. I don't know how long it's been, maybe 2 or 3 months or something, but I've been doing bench training, and now my pecs are back to their former size. And again, you can see for yourself how much they've grown, but this is truly the size that they're supposed to be. And again, I would have to credit nucleus overload. I sincerely believe that my calisthenics journey played a massive role in building my pecs, as well as the weighted dips and the bench press. That's always what it's been for me. For me, it's always been high volume push-ups combined with getting stronger on the compound movements, and that gives you a massive pair of pecs. Again, that's what worked for me. I'm not saying this is going to work for everybody. I'm not saying this is the best solution of all time, but I think that a lot of guys could benefit from this information. So if your chest is lagging, maybe you should start doing more push-ups. Maybe do a nucleus overload cycle for your push-ups, and then focus on your bench. How about you get your bench to 3 plates for reps? You know, how about you chase 405? How about you chase a 5-plate weighted dip like I did, right? I think if you start approaching it from that standpoint, like volume through push-ups and strength through compound lifts, you're going to see some pretty good development. And again, I'm not a guy who had to focus on flies. Never had to do that shit. And I believe that my chest is one of my best body parts. Whenever I'm shirtless, it's popping out. You know, I got fucking huge pecs. When I wear a shirt, it's like you can see it. They're really big. And I get comments about my chest every time in person. And I really believe that the push-ups and just getting stronger, the compound lifts, did the most for me. So that's just, again, what worked for me. I hope it works for you too. Give me a feedback down below. What worked for you in terms of building your chest? And with that, I will talk to you all next time.